So the Sounders score 7 goals in the second half. Adam, 7-0, they win over Cruz Azul, a team that a little bit of a revenge match. Take me through the 7 goals.
I've been to hundreds of Sounders games. I've been going here since the inaugural season. That is the most incredible 45 minutes on the attacking end that I've ever seen, Moz, from this Sounders team. They were cutting through one of the best teams in CONCACAF like a hot knife through butter. It was ridiculous. You get the first couple on the set piece, and we talked about it in the press conference. The heads start to drop for Cruz Azul, and the Sounders, they smelled blood in the water. They just pounced, and of course the goals, the incredible quality from the goals. But altogether, it was just easy. It was looking easy. The interplay, working between the lines, everything was working. It was an incredible 45 minutes, Moz.
All right, let's hear from head coach Brian Smetzer on the goals.
What can you just say? They're all different goals, but I would assert the movement and the execution and the vision is the 3 underlying pieces in all these goals. Is that fair? And given what you're saying about
fair, maybe, but I can go through the goals because I had to go through the goals again because I couldn't remember.
That'd be great.
So Yaimar's on a corner kick, and some people were saying, well, we haven't scored on the corner kick. Well, we actually got 2. So Jesus is the 3rd goal. So Yaimar on the corner kick, and Jesus is when Christian flicks the ball. That's execution on the stuff that Andy and Rodrigo do every day. They put a lot of energy into that, and tonight it all came together. Albert's service is always good. So that's a plus and a shout out to the guys making sure that set pieces are an important part of the game. Obed has had 3 goals this year, and I believe that all 3 of them have been deflected.
Yes.
But I'm not going to take anything away from the kid because he could be the best player on that field. You can see the way he glides past people. I don't know why more people don't watch this and say, hey, that kid's worth 10, 12, 15 million dollars. I don't know. Okay? Then you've got Ryan Kent that got a start today, and his pass to Osaze shows his class, his brilliance. Osaze coming on, making the most of his opportunities. I don't know why he pulled his shirt up for the yellow. I have no idea, but I'll talk to him about that, keep him grounded. And then you go to, let's go to Nuhu first.
Right.
I give Danny Leyva a lot of credit because he's on the training field and he's practicing set pieces. And that's good on the kid. And he delivers a good ball. But I'm also going to give Nuhu credit, not just because he wants to score, because that's part of who he is and he loves scoring and he loves the attention, but it's also a good soccer play because you're always supposed to follow up the ball in case a goalkeeper parries it, makes a save. So credit to Nuhu. And then I'm going to save maybe the best for last because look, De La Vega's on a high. And his first goal, again, it was Danny Leyva coming down on the right-hand side, and then Jesus gets the ball at his feet and he toe pokes it over to Pedro and he smashes it in the upper corner. That one was good. But the ball by Alex, come on, the ball by Alex, and then Pedro just one touch. That's really a tremendous goal, and that just put the icing on the cake.
Just being around the net is key. The coach always tells me to be around the net, be in my office, which is in the box. So the more I do that, the more I'll receive the ball and do what I do.
All right, so there you go. You heard Brian Smetzer just talk. He went through all the goals and everything else. But Adam, going back to what you said in terms of cutting him through better, tell me about the vision and the movement to space that you saw.
Of course you have all 7 goals, but the time in between the goals, like I said, it just looked like the Sounders saw every bit of space, every blade of grass that was available, and used it. It looked incisive. Even in the first half where they only weren't able to score any goals, it still looked like they were finding all the space they needed. They just got some of those finishes, some incredible finishes in the second half. It was aggressive right from the jump. They put a good team on the back foot and they did not stop pushing.
That's a really good point because one of the things that's important in soccer is when you're ahead, is to continue the energy and to continue when you see your opponent head down, hands on the shoulder, hips kind of drawn, that's when you continue. And you don't see this happen too often. So what do you do next? You've got a game against Santos Laguna. Do you change anything? Do you change the lineup?
I mean, just with the congestion of matches, I think some kind of change is necessary. But it was really interesting hearing Brian talk in the post-match press conference about how this is an interesting spot to be in as a coach. That's one of the best games that Brian Schmetzer, I'm sure, has ever seen his team play. How do you manage the expectations going into the next game, maybe manage the egos a little bit, keep them centered? That's one of the more underappreciated parts of coaching. But Brian's such an experienced coach, such a man manager. He's the exact kind of manager you want in this situation where you need to stay level-headed, just focus on the next match.
And to your point, Brian said it's the players. That's a confident team out there, and he's always, like you said, he's always a good coach. Will always, deflect to the players when they win, and then when they lose, they didn't obviously. He'll say, "Hey, I've got to get him in the right position to make those plays," and which is what they did. But the Sounders did get a shutout.
They did get a shutout. That's one of the things that maybe is going to go unsung in this game. And it started on the front. The line of engagement was pushed so high up the field. They had one time where they struck the post, did Cruz Azul. But really, the Sounders were able to completely cut off any hopes of getting a goal for Cruz Azul just because they were keeping them in their own half. And that just wasn't in the second 45 where they put up the 7 goals. That was throughout the entire match. It never really looked like Cruz Azul had a way to get out of their own defensive third, their own half, into the attacking third. This was a defensive performance, you could say, that started at the front.
Well said, because in order to do that, your line of confrontation is up front, but you need your mid-block to be tight right there, and also your back line, just not to give too much room there. And I thought Jackson Reagan was the quarterback and made sure to keep everybody up front. And then when once in a while they did break, like 26 minute, when they came down here, the Sounders were compact and they were very patient in their defense, and then went out and made the tackles that they did. Nothing in the box, and nothing like that. So a complete win for the Seattle Sounders here as they start the Leagues Cup play.
One of the biggest momentum boosts you can get, but it says a lot about a team, what you can do after that big win. I'm very interested to see how they come out against Santos Laguna.
All right, Adam Reyes, Masvidal Marrera, CascadiaSports.net. Thank you all for watching, listening, and subscribing.
Thank you.